Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden, this is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright guys, I'm sure you've heard by now that Texas is officially a constitutional carry state. Now what does that mean? That basically means if you have the right to own a firearm for a background check and you are clear, you can carry that gun anywhere you want, within certain limits, without having to pay a fee or do any of the licensing that's required for a lot of other states. Now, this is Texas we're talking about. Gun rights and constitutionality are real big in Texas. So my question to you is, if Texas did this move, along with 20 other states that have done this, why is the left hitting so hard on Texas? There's a reason why, and we're going to touch on it in a second. I've got a bunch of clips here, but I'm going to give you a hint, and this is important to share out, because the left shows you what they're afraid of all the time. We've talked about that a lot on this channel. They are terrified when individual states stand up to their I'd say bully moves, their pressure tactics. If you look back this year, you've got Florida, Georgia, you've got Mississippi, and now you've got Texas, all doing issue on their core tenets of leftism and it's attacking, and they always attack the places they show with the most fear. And this is more examples of this. Think about this as we watch all these clips. Why are they only attacking Texas if pro-gun bills have gone through 20 other states this year? Check this out. So, I've got everything linked in the description box below for credit, but also for your review if you guys just want to watch the clips that I pull for you. But let's look at these clips. I'm going to analyze each of them for you. And it only feels fitting to start this off with Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks as she announces what's going on.
Governor Greg Abbott is set to sign new legislation that the legislators in the state have agreed to, and it would allow for gun carriers to carry handguns without a permit.
I love that pursed lip. Yes, it will allow gun carriers to carry guns without a permit. Interesting thing, she did not say anything about background checks. She did not say anything about people owning guns. All she said was people who would carry guns don't need a permit to do so. Now, that's important. That's a little bit of a lie of omission, but let's keep on trucking. NBC also did a special report on this. Check this out.
Tonight in Texas, getting hands on a handgun about to become even easier. Lawmakers in Austin passing House Bill 1927, allowing anyone 21 and up who is legally allowed to buy a handgun. No license needed.
Now, did you catch what they said there? It's making it so much easier to get your hands on a handgun. No, it's not. It didn't change any of the background checks at all. Not even a smidgen. In fact, you still have to pass all the exact same federal regulations that you did before this this bill went into effect and became a law. It's interesting how they didn't say that. They just said it's easier to get guns, easier than it ever was. In fact, in the tail end of that, they even went further and said, well, now you have to be 21. You have to legally own the firearm. And you don't need to have a license anymore to carry. That's the exact same system that's in place now. The only difference is you don't need a license or a fee to express your right in public. That's the only difference. They omitted that. But now, this is where it gets interesting, because in the exact same NBC little article, little expose, if you will, they did something and they kind of proved my point a little bit, but let's talk about it after we watch it.
Measures already exist in 20 states. In Texas, the law eliminates not only the license, but also the written test, training, and state background check.
All right. So if this already exists, and this is where the why comes in, guys. This is the point where we focus on, because there's always a reason for what they do. The left, specifically in gun control, always a reason. Don't ever question that. They may have bad intentions for the Second Amendment, but they're not stupid. And that's important to recognize. Don't underestimate your opponents ever. But they even say 20 states in total have very similar Constitution carry laws. Now, if you were on the left and you were completely against Constitution carry, why would you only make a stink when Texas did it? You wouldn't even utter a peep when all the other states have done it. That's an important distinction. The reason why is because Texas is a symbol. The left is very big on symbols. If you go through the 20th century, every left-leaning political organization or government in power was huge on symbolism. Very, very big. Texas is a symbol of freedom, which is why it must be destroyed. If Texas leads the way, it can encourage other states to do the exact same thing. It has to be made an example of and destroyed, which is why they're attacking Texas. But they didn't attack the other states that don't really matter. North and South Dakota, no one really cares. Wyoming, no one really cares. Texas, everyone cares. If you want to look at this across the political spectrum, you go into Florida, where they opened up from the situation we dealt with in 2020, the pandemic. They opened up early. All hell was unleashed on Florida, because once Florida did it and proved it didn't work, or excuse me, it worked, then all the other states started doing it as well. Look at Mississippi. They passed a health care bill, and it's being taken up in the Supreme Court. All hell broke loose. Georgia, voter bill, voter suppression, all hell broke loose. All of these places were the first places where the core tenets of the left's ideals and idealistic imagery of a perfect union are under attack. They must make examples, because if they're allowed to stand, others will follow. Don't forget that. And that's why we talk about so heavily on this channel why it's so important that your voice matters and everything you do has a tremendous and profound impact. It's a big deal. But now, to wrap all these little video clips up, let's go to Todd over here and see what he says on MSNBC.
Patrick, in some ways, it's surprising that the Texas Republicans are not the leaders on this, that this has actually happened in a bunch of other states first, and Texas is now the latest. Explain what...
He's validating my point. It's a surprise that Texas didn't lead on this, because Texas is very constitutionally driven, like I said. But you didn't see exposés on all the other states that did this, did you? You did not. Now, Chuck Todd must have had a stroke or some sort of awakening for this moment, but listen to what he says. He actually sets the record straight on exactly what's happening and kind of contradicts the mainstream narrative here. Watch this.
And I just want to sum up. You still have to get a background check to purchase a handgun, but you no longer have to get a permit to carry that handgun on you, correct?
Right, so he actually nailed that. He actually did that correct. This is huge, guys, and it's not huge because Texas gets to carry guns. Phenomenal. If you live in Texas, that's amazing. You're one of 50 states. You're you're a massive chunk of population in the states and land area, but you're still 1/50th of all of the states. The important symbolism of Texas is that if Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, if all those different states start to do it, if Nevada starts to do it, if you start to get up into New Hampshire and they start to do it, you're going to lose the nation, because they're going to see the exact same thing happen. For example, when Florida opened up early, everything worked the way it was supposed to work. And that is why this is so important, that we every single day, we're looking at 2022, and we're going to send this bad boy home. We're going to show up and show out. And if there are fears of anything nefarious going on, we're going to show up in such a massive number that it can't be overcome, because we're motivated. And we are going to pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation, as we always focus on this channel. You and I are doing some amazing things, and I look forward to every single day I see you guys. And until tomorrow, I'm Braden. Let me know what you think in the comments field below, and I'll see you then.